What is the best way to protect your personal residence and money and property from lawsuits, creditors, bankruptcy, divorce, government actions, IRS audits, any of those things? Well, I'm attorney Paul Deloughery, and if you have to pick one method, generally speaking, the best way to protect your assets, your net worth, is using what I call an asset vault trust. Now, other people call it a 541 trust or a special power of appointment trust, but it's the same thing. And here's why it really, again, if you have to pick one method, and I, let me mention that really good asset protection planning or protecting your net worth is not generally best done just using one method. It's generally best done using layers or a sequence of different things, including liability insurance and different other things to provide comprehensive protection. But if you need to pick one thing, the best one method is using an asset vault trust. And it really combines two great features. Number one, it gives you maximum flexibility. And number two, it's supported by generations of case law. So let me talk about those real quick. So maximum flexibility. Now, again, there's lots of different ways of protecting your assets. If you have if you want to have your home protected from, any of those creditors, or, that kind of thing, to have the maximum protection, well, move to Florida or Iowa or Texas or one of the states that provide, the unlimited homestead exemption. Okay, so those states. Sorry if I'm causing mass immigration into your states by this video. I don't think it's going to have that effect. But so aside from that, if you don't live in one of those states, how do you protect your home? Okay, how do you protect your net worth? Well, there are different ways. One of the tried and true ways of protecting your assets is not owning those assets anymore. Now, I've seen on websites that criticize this technique that say, well, that's not really asset protection because you don't own it anymore. But, well, true. But as long as you get the use of the home, you can still live there. And as long as you have the flexibility in the future where you can transfer the home back to you if you want to, and you can, there are methods where you can still sell the home and buy a new home, and effectively you get the use of the home, just it's not technically in your name anymore. So from that standpoint, if you want to protect your home, absolutely, from creditors and that kind of thing, then one of the ways is just not own your home anymore. And so you put it into this special trust where again, you have the use of it. And at some point, if you ever wanted to get the equity out of it or sell it or move or unwind it or something like that, there are ways that you can do that. Now, if something bad does happen and you get a multi-million-dollar judgment against you, then you're not going to want to unwind the trust and transfer the home back to you, because at that point, then it's going to be subject to your creditors. So, and most of my clients would rather have the use of the home, where they actually get to live there, as opposed to having unlimited control, but then it can possibly go to, pay off debts and judgments and that kind of thing. Another criticism I've seen on the internet about using this kind of a trust has to do with judges who theoretically wouldn't like them. Okay, it doesn't look good that you can transfer your home to a special trust and continue to live in it, and therefore it's no good because a judge could unwind it. However, I'm not aware of any cases anywhere in the country to that effect. Okay, this trust has been tried and true in every state and in every possible scenario, including divorces and IRS audits and government actions and bankruptcy. And now there are other ways where asset protection planning doesn't work, and I'm not going to go into that in this video. We'll talk about that in other videos. But like asset protection planning where you have a judgment against you, or you have creditors going after you, and then you transfer your assets, well, that's called a fraudulent conveyance. Okay, so that can be unwound in Arizona, and I, I would think other states, probably every other state has the same kind of law. I only practice in Arizona, so I'll only speak to that. Or if you're commingling assets, okay, that's another way that a court could unwind the transaction and pierce the veil, it's called, and get the asset within the trust. But that doesn't say that the trust itself is ineffective. That says that how you manage the trust, or how you transferred your assets to the trust, were bad, and they violated some provision of the law. So the trust itself actually works very well. So just let me mention that usually for asset protection planning, there's not going to be just a one simple answer. The best way to protect your assets from being lost to creditors and whatnot is having a whole sequence or layers of protection, starting frankly with good insurance, and then how you're managing the assets, making sure you're not commingling, and a whole bunch of things. And we'll get into that in future videos. But the theme of this video was, if you had to pick if you had to pick one method, what's the best method? And I would say hands down, the best one way to protect your assets is with a trust that is tried and true and has withstood attack in every state and in every possible context that we can think of. So, and that's what I call, again, an asset vault trust. And well, it's called also a special power of appointment trust. Okay, we'll talk about kind of the mechanics of how it works in future videos. But so there you go. I hope this was helpful. Have a great day.